Hello, cyberspace. It is I, Terracent, your favorite cyber bitch here. And tonight's subject is YouTube scary stories make you paranoid. Tonight I have with me, of course, always my baby brother, Chunky Monkey.
Hey,
And I have Scooby331.
Hey, hey, what's happening?
So how are you two today?
I'm doing
I'm
okay.
hanging in there right now.
I know the feeling.
How about you? How's everything?
Oh, back pain. But nowhere near as bad as it has been the last week.
Still getting raped by trees.
Fuck, dude, tree sex is horrible. But not as horrible as cat dander that you're having to see. I clean my aunt's house once a week, and she pays for my cell phone bill.
So not your kind of wood.
Would you shut up? And there's two cats in the house. One is her cat, and one is my cat. And mind you, I did technically give her my cat, but it's still my cat. Fuck off. I thought her cat was gonna be, we were gonna have to put the cat down in like a month or so. That's why I gave her my cat, because I knew she was gonna need a pet to help her get through it. And these two cats leave so much fucking dander around the house, it kills me.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
Yes, you do, you asshole.
uh, oh goodness, I'm sorry. It's just, I don't know. We weren't really allowed to have cats in my house. My father hated them.
You've already determined that your dad is a weirdo.
Well, not so much that he was a weirdo. He was old-fashioned.
Yeah, what was that whole thing? Cats kill babies or some shit like that.
What'd you say? I can't hear you.
I said, what was that? Something about cats kill babies or some shit like that?
Oh no, that's my mother. Cats steal the baby's breath.
No, that's the troll that does it. She needs to watch Cat's Eye. That tells the truth.
Now, my father, he just didn't like cats. He thought they were a pain in the ass. And he only liked having dogs to keep the blacks out of the yard. So, seriously, that's the only reason the old man even liked dogs. So, we had German Shepherds when I was a kid. And he always used to say if they were good enough for the SS and for the Alabama Police Department, they're fine for me. Yeah, he was an interesting cat, the old man. I'll give him that much. He was a product from a different century,
Yeah.
I miss him though. But I was telling my mother today, and my mother's been saying it too a lot lately, which makes me really sad because I've been saying it since Obama's second term. But I was saying, it makes me glad my father isn't alive to see this. But just more crazy shit that they had on the news today, and poor old girl. I feel bad, what they're doing to the country. It's really upsetting my mother. I mean, I'm not like my mother. I see these leftists, acting like an asshole. I get them to assault me so I can pummel the fuck out of them in self-defense. My mother doesn't have that option. Yeah. Feels good every once in a while to romp stomp the fuck out of an SJW. You should try it once in a while, Kel.
Wait, what?
I said, it makes you feel good every once in a while to romp stomp the living fuck out of an SJW. You should try it. Speaking of romper stomping SJWs, where's Burnside?
Probably stopping on the SJWs right now.
I know he's still at work. It's just I figured because the time difference. He's an hour behind us. Fuck. You know what it was? I figured for whatever reason. I just figured because it was daylight saving, when it's spring forward now. I just figured he'd be off of work already by now for whatever reason.
Who would?
Burnside.
Oh, no.
You know what the problem was, don't you? I was thinking in Florida time.
Oh, fuck off.
You know I'm moving there anyway, so I can say that.
Yeah, right. If me and Burnside end up moving to New York, you'll stay.
If you two move here, yeah, I'll stay. I'll definitely stay in New York.
What if we just become your basement dwellers?
Oh, fuck that. I want the basement. You two can have the
Can't
house.
have meat on Mondays.
They're not school students. That's just in the schools.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, do you really think that's going to fly? Do you realize those guineas that, excuse me, the guys who own over Spark Steakhouse? You realize what's going to...
after all.
Yeah, do you realize they would freak the fuck out on him if they found out he was doing that shit? Yeah, look, I hate saying this and perpetuating the stereotype, but there is a truism to it. The connected folks, they're not going to let that fly. They're going to lose too much money. You know, part of the reason his forebear, Iron Mike Bloomberg...
So when are they going to raise arms against Cortez? Because they lost too much money.
They only just found out about it recently. Yeah, the whole state was like shocked that that had happened. Believe it or not, this is kind of a good thing that that happened. Not for my state, but for the country. I'll tell you why. By that crazy-eyed dipshit, 86 in Amazon from coming here, she basically just steamrolled Governor Cuomo's plans for the White House. So I'm actually happy she did that. I mean, it's going to suck for my state in the long fall, but good for the country. You know, I mean, not to sound like a dick, but I'm one of those people like, fuck it, I'll rent out my house and I'll move to Jersey for like a few years while it goes south here. You know, seriously, if it comes down to it.
Nah, just, you know, rent it out to me and Burnside.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the thing. Like, I think I showed you. I found that car for sale. If I can finance the car, because I have like jack shit money that comes in here. But if I can get a car for under $100 a month financing, I can afford that. And that's what I'm looking to do, is to get a car, maybe deliver pizza Friday or Saturday night to get a little bit of extra cash, and just stream from the car like how Uncle Hotep was doing it, and a few of the other streamers I seen doing it, and hopefully people will donate on PayPal. I'm even going to start up one of those ridiculous fucking Twitters again, just to try to get some money coming in. You know?
You mean like Uber guy streams while he's driving?
Yeah, but I'm not gonna drive around with anyone, any passengers. What I was gonna do was, the only thing was I was gonna stream, and I was gonna have like one camera out on the highway in front of me, because I'm gonna be driving around New York and people want to see that. But I want to try to do it a split screen, and I want to have the other camera on patches in the back seat. You know, I was gonna have one is gonna be like the road cam, and one's gonna be the patches cam. You know, I figured
it's gonna get more viewers than you.
I could give a fuck. Look, they could look at, who wants to look at me anyway? That's the reason I wear that mask. You know? Seriously.
I like looking at you.
No, you don't. You told me before you think I'm disgusting.
Scooby, you have some really sexy eyes.
Please don't say that. Then Trippy's going to show up in the chat and start jerking off. Doesn't even
screenshotted it too.
Doesn't even deny it. That's the sick part. Anyway, enough about that.
So it's the title of tonight's show, which is YouTube Scary Stories Make You Paranoid. So for like past 3 months, I guess, I've been watching Corpse Husband, Mr. Nightmare, Right now it's Unit 522 and a few others. They'll read off creepypasta stories. They'll read creepy stories from Reddit and stuff like that. All these weird, different creepy stories. Some of them are submissions, real life submissions from viewers, and in which, you know, a lot of them submit proof that it's real, like newspaper articles and stuff like that. And dude, it makes you fucking paranoid.
You know what I wanted to ask you? Which Nightmare on Elm Street was it with the nun?
3 Dreamwalkers or Dreamwalkers.
That was probably the scariest one, just because of the nun being his mother's ghost. Believe it or not, that's what scared me the most, that entire movie. Because, you know, you can't even really call those movies horror. They're more slasher. I mean, parts of it are scary. But that, to me, was the scariest part of the whole movie, was the guy's reaction at the end when he realized he was talking to a ghost and he's standing over her grave. Scariest part of the whole movie. You know, I mean, I think that's what it is. A lot of what you're seeing on YouTube that you missed in the past 20, even 30 some odd years in cinema, you don't get a lot of good ghost stories anymore.
Oh no, these are fucking great.
Yeah.
The only ones I don't listen to are the ones with fucking clowns. I don't do the clowns.
I love clowns.
No, clowns can stay the fuck away from me. But I'll sit there and watch fucking Killer Clowns from Outer Space all day.
You know why I like clowns? Because
you are one?
Oh, that's nice. That's very nice. I was gonna say I like clowns because, you know, everyone else is afraid of them, and for me, whatever reason, like everyone else is afraid of them, and I'm the one. You know, I react violently to clowns. Like everyone else, I see them like cowering. I see a clown, especially mimes. Oh my god, my fists like ball up instinctively. I don't even realize I'm doing it. Like I see mimes and I just.
Oh, that's you hate the Pokemon, Mr. Mime.
You know, I just realized you called me a clown, and you're the one with pictures floating around where you're wearing face makeup.
Where I'm wearing what makeup?
Face makeup, when you were wearing the makeup down in Moore.
That's different. I was Harley Quinn.
And a Harley Quinn is?
Sexy.
A clown. A Harley Quinn is a clown.
She's sexy.
But I'm just saying.
Harley Quinn.
I'm just saying you're engaging in projection.
No, it comes from where when I was a kid, I was at the circus, and a clown stole my coloring book, and then would sit there and fucking laugh at me. I hate fucking clowns. Fuck them.
Oh, and then you call me a clown, so you hate me. That's nice.
Scooby, I love you. You are the it clown. You are the Tim Curry in the sewer.
Do you realize that clown is derogatory around here? Like, really derogatory? Calling somebody a clown in New York is like calling a black guy the N-word. I'm just saying, like, you keep calling me a clown. I'm like, I don't think you realize the vernacular here.
I'm not in New York. I don't care.
All right, I'm just saying.
Hello, Lawrence. He's in the chat.
Hey, Lawrence, how you doing, man? He was supposed to come on one night and tell us about Greece. Is he back from Greece yet? Does anyone know?
I don't know. He can hear you, though.
Oh, well, I'm not watching the chat, so... Anyway, Lawrence, let us know if you're back from Greece. We'd love to hear about it. I'm just curious if while he was in Greece, if he stayed on that one island where everyone has a unibrow. You know that island I'm talking about?
No.
You can look it up. I didn't realize that there was a whole island like this. There's this guy in the first Van Wilder movie, and he's the one that hires Van Wilder to throw a party for him, and he's Greek in the movie, And he's got this gigantic unibrow that actually starts on the sides of his eyes, like by his cheeks. It actually hooks around each eye. And I didn't pay any really mind to it. I just remembered the guy had a really funky, wild Greek name. And then I think I was in college. That's how I didn't realize Van Wilder was that old. But I'm in college and I'm watching some movie we were doing about phonetics and linguistics in advanced English. And for whatever reason, he has in the film the professor's showing, they show this Greek island, and every man, woman, child, even the babies in the carriage had that fucking enormous unibrow. I couldn't believe it. I was like, holy shit. Like, I understand, like, certain populations, if they're enclosed, they can develop certain traits. But, I mean, it was, like, fucking weird. Like, everyone had the same face. Like, the cop directing traffic. You know, it was just creepy. That's why I was curious if he was in that island where everyone had that gigantic unibrow.
All I know is if I went to Greece, I'd be sleeping, and I do mean sleeping, or pretty much residing in the temple of Aphrodite.
I just want to go where they have the best food. Seriously, it's Greek food.
No, I'd be sitting there begging the gods to make me immortal.
I'd be sitting there looking for seconds on couscous and pistachio. Seriously, you can go sit there and pray to the gods all you want. I'll be stuffing my face with lamb and grape leaves.
Go for it. Yes. I'm sitting here sewing a pillow because it has holes in it.
I wouldn't think you were sewing it if it didn't have holes in it. Unless it's a practice
my
pillow.
roommate just came down and she's like, "Are you sewing a pillow?" And that's why I was like, "Yes."
I thought you were agreeing with me on the lamb.
Oh no, lamb is good. You can bring me the food.
Oh, that's nice.
To Hera's temple, or well, yeah, I would be pleading to Hera.
Well, that's nice. So not only am I a clown, now you expect me to fetch the food for you too. Anything else while we're on the subject?
Yeah, mule.
Funny.
Lawrence says a lot of areas in Greece have people who look the same. He was mostly in the islands. The mainland is mixed with all traits.
Okay, because, yeah, I got to find out what island it is. It's kind of wild looking. Yeah, I think I definitely want to, if I go to Greece, I got to bring my wife with me. Because, yeah, there's no way on earth I can be wander around a countryside surrounded by the second most beautiful women on earth. First most beautiful women of Sicily, of course. But, yeah, I can't be walking around surrounded by all those beautiful women without my wife anywhere. Not a good sign. Not a good scene. Don't want to be there. That, it depresses you. You know?
What does?
Well, I mean, I guess because I'm not a wandering man, but if you're true and you're in a situation where you're surrounded by like all these beautiful women and your spouse isn't there, you'd miss your spouse. And seriously. I don't know why I'd miss her, to be completely honest, because if I started oogling half the broads I wanted to oogle, she'd be smacking the shit out of me, so.
What's that stupid cough so hard that gives me a headache up here? You know they can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
We're live.
Yes, hi, how are you? Say hello to the internet.
Oh, well, I'll make you internet famous.
Oh, there you go. So where the hell is everybody tonight?
I have no clue. I didn't shill this. I stopped caring about shilling.
Yeah, I noticed that the past few nights. I was going to ask you, is everything all right? Because I don't see any shilling going down.
No, other than our normal people who are subscribed, no one comes when I shill anyway, unless they come to raid. So, what's the point?
True.
And the raids are getting really, really boring.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
I mean, if they were to actually, if I didn't have most of them blocked, and they would actually say something unique or intelligent, I might respond to them.
Well, they're morons.
You know, if
They're
they were like, to quote Roscoe from fucking Boondock Saints, what if I told you that your Pico Kami mother sucked so much dick, her face looked like an egg? Yeah, then I'd fucking respond, probably laughing my ass off. Well, luckily, I don't have a Pico Kami mother.
True.
Kind of helps when your parents are dead.
Oh, man. Yeah, I can't believe it's been 11 years for the old man.
Yeah, 11 for my mom, too. April 19th, it'll be 11 years.
It's going to be 11 for the old man come this July. It is what it is.
They're in happier places.
I would hope so.
Well, I've always said, because my mom believed in the Judeo-Christian God.
Mm-hmm.
And according to her, this was her heaven that she told me about years ago. She said that she believes that her heaven, because she believes that, you know, everyone gets their own heaven. You know, something that to their heart's desire.
Like Supernatural.
Yeah, kind of like that. Or American Dad. That hers, she told me, she's like, she wanted her heaven to be a lake that when you dipped your mug or your cup or whatever into the lake, it was the best beer you've ever tasted. And that the grass was weed. The dirt was brownies. And you could catch every fish you wanted, freshwater or saltwater, in that lake.
Sounds like Fiddler's Green.
I have no clue what the fuck you're talking about.
Fiddler's Green is something the Irish sailors always used to talk about.
I thought it sounded, I know from a zombie movie.
What, Fiddler's Green?
Yeah, Land of the Dead. Some apartment complex, I think.
I know what you're talking about. It wasn't Fiddler's Green. It was something else. I have the movie.
It's my own personal belief in what heaven should be. Fiddler's Green.
I'll describe it.
Rolling fields, right by the ocean. Little tavern or inn or whatever you want to call it. That's right there. Good music, good food, warm hearth. That's pretty much it. That's all Fiddler's Green is. That the Irish have a really simple idea of what heaven is. It's just a really beautiful.
A lot like the Elysian Fields.
Yeah, except there's a bed and breakfast in the middle of it, and it's on the ocean.
The Elysian Fields is actually on a cliff to the ocean, and all the food you want.
Yeah. That's what Fiddler's Green is. They basically, there's actually a video you could find for it if you want. It's on YouTube, The Blood of Cuchulainn. And watch that video. Basically, it's some really good imagery of Ireland and the music itself. First time I ever heard it, that's actually the theme from the Boondock Saints, now that I realize it. But I didn't realize that at the time that they had used it for the movie, because I had heard it before. Whenever I hear that song, the first thing I would think of is Fiddler's Green. It's just what I associate with it.
Oh, guess what I got today?
What?
My fibromyalgia medicine. Yay!
Oh, congratulations.
It's official. I've been diagnosed.
Oh, my condolences.
No, here having fibromyalgia is one of those top things that get you on the list for disability. Then again, so is
Right.
epilepsy and PTSD and all that, which I have all that shit. It's you know recorded. It's been documented, and still I keep getting denied. So when I see the judge, I'm gonna flat out tell them, you know, because I'm gonna go and find the list that I was given by my attorney last year of all the different things that are supposed to give you automatic disability. And I'm going to highlight everything that I have that has been documented and I've been told I have. And I'm going to tell the judge, look, I you know, on this list from the state of Florida says that if I have these issues, I qualify for disability, no questions. And, you know, on it is epilepsy, fibromyalgia, PTSD, brain damage, which I do have it because I have pseudobarba effect, which is a side effect of having too much brain trauma. You know, I have another type of PTSD. One of them's from my ex-husband beating me. One of them's from my step-grandfather molesting me. It's like childhood PTSD and then adult PTSD or some shit like that. You know, I have a blood disorder and, you know, bulging discs and shit like that. But, you know, a lot of the mental issues or even, you know, the epilepsy that I have is on the list of automatic disability. But I keep getting denied when I have proof of all this stuff. So I'm going to tell the judge, you know, I have proof, I have all this stuff that it says I should get automatic disability for these things. So this proves that they are not at all looking at my records. They're looking at my age. And I want that to stop. I want them to actually look at my issues, not my age.
Wait, what does your age have to do with it?
Oh, here in Florida, if you're under a certain age, they pretty much dismiss you on whether or not you have issues, whether it's recorded or not. That's why when I go to see the judge, I'm going to flat out tell them, you know, this is what's going on. And I want them to stop looking at my age. I want my medical issues to be addressed. I'm tired of being denied based on my age because I keep getting told that, and in most of the paperwork it says, because of my age, I can still work. That tells me that they're basing it on my age, not my issues. Which is a crock of shit. They're basing it on my issues, not my age. Apparently, someone that's 37 should not have all the issues I do. You know, it makes me want to look at them and go, okay, how about you? You know, I leave you in the middle of nowhere with an abusive man for 4 years. And all this shit, so hopefully I get the paperwork soon for disabilities saying when my court date is.
All right. Hope that, you know, this is the last hoop, hurdle, or whatever you got to go through. I hope, you know, you don't have any.
This is going to be the last time, period. I've been fighting for disability for 10 fucking years. I'm done. And I'm tired of relying on other people.
I know what you mean.
So what I'm going to end up doing is, if I don't get my disability, I have friends that are managers at the Circle K's, and I'm going to ask them for, you know, to help me get get a job at a Circle K. And I'm going to save up money, and then I'm going to transfer my happy ass to fucking Illinois with Burnside. Whether I move in with him or I have to get my own place.
Well, I hope it works. Really, I do. I keep my fingers crossed for you.
Thank you. Yay, 2 down votes and an up vote. Thank you so much for the interaction.
I just talked to Miastra. He's got guests over, but he said he's going to hop in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, just because, you know, the three of us can sit here and keep pulling each other's dicks over the same topic over and over and over, but I figure get a fresh opinion in here. You know, I haven't talked to the guy in a few minutes anyway.
Oh, so you want to blow my strap on?
Oh, God. You're part of the reason I think I still need reefer.
Well, you said, you know, blowing each other's dicks. The only dick I have is a dildo and a strap on.
You remember that movie? What was it? Sorority Guys, where they were sitting there and they were taking the
sorority girls.
I thought it was no. I'm talking about the one with what's his name?
Yeah,
Where they all were
dressed. Talking about. I've seen it.
It was sorority girl. I thought it was sorority guys.
Sorority boys.
That's what it was. Yeah, when they were taking the freaking the water balloon launcher, and they were launching the dildos through the sorority's windows.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember the first time I ever seen a water balloon launcher. I was terrified. I was a kid, and I was at Gilgo Beach. And back then, they used to have this big brick wall, and there was another wall behind it. And the one wall was facing like horizontal, and the other wall was vertical. And it was like the big wall, like you would walk behind it and then turn, and depending on which side you walked in behind, it was like how it would lead into the bathrooms. So you had to come out walk past this wall to like get back on the sidewalk. And I'm walking and it missed me by inches. These fucking drunk assholes were launching fucking cans of Coors Light at the brick wall with the fucking water balloon slingshot.
Fuck a duck.
Yeah, I think I was maybe like 11 or 12 years old. So like it was me and two of my friends, and now like we're trying to run, and these assholes are like missing us by inches, like launching full cans of beer at us with this thing. I mean, like these big fucking jocks. So it was like 4 of them, one guy each holding on to like this, acting as like basically the fulcrum, holding the band, and 2 guys pulling this thing back to launch it.
Jesus.
Yeah, fucking jocks. This is how long ago this was. Do you remember when Coors Light used to manufacture the beer ball?
Yeah.
Yeah, these idiots were drinking those things.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Man, fucking early 90s. Fucking beer ball. I had an empty one of those. I don't know what the hell had happened to it. Like, it had just been completely drained, so I was saving it because they stopped making them. Like, that's one of the things that really pissed me off. Right when I got old enough to drink, they stopped making the damn beer ball. You ever seen one of those, Kelt?
Oh, a beer ball?
Yeah.
No.
Check this out. It's a clear acrylic ball, somewhere in between the size of a medicine ball and a basketball. And it's full of beer. And it's got a spigot on it made out of plastic, like a keg. And you pass the thing around like you're doing hot potato, except you drink out of it. It was the coolest fucking thing when I was a teenager. Yeah, I remember watching.
We put a keg spike in it.
Yeah, they used to make them where they already had the spike in it. Like, you just buy it right out of the store like that.
Yeah, we had the hose and everything connected to it. So, literally, when it would start to get empty, we just popped it upside down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's so cool. I'm so pissed that they stopped making those. I think
Oh,
some ass.
no, they stopped making them because they were so easy to refill. You didn't have to go, and have it refilled at a special place.
I know. I'm pissed off that they stopped. Part of the reason I heard that they stopped making them is because some asshole was like drinking one of them in Panama City on the top of a 3-story fucking houseboat and took a header into the lake and snapped his neck. My thinking is, shouldn't that be the houseboat manufacturer's fault? I don't know. I'm just pissed off. It's like another thing that's lost to time. Like that's. We were supposed to be talking about creepypastas and everything. I'll be honest. I don't follow any of this internet shit, so I'm not familiar.
Check out Corpse Husband.
Corpse Husband?
Yeah.
All right, Corpse Husband. Let's see. What the fuck is Corpse Husband? All right. Patches. Daddy wants to know. Do you know what Corpse Husband is, Patches?
Most of these guys have ASMR voices, so I will listen to them and fall asleep.
All right, let's see. Get out of here. Yeah, get the fuck out. Fucking orange rat. Oh, it's an actual guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
They read off these stories that are submitted by viewers. Some viewers submit them to several different readers, and so the same story gets read over and over and over by different things, by different readers.
Yeah,
There's Mr. Nightmare. And on some of them, when they'll have a like a thumbnail image for the screen, and I've watched it on the big TV. Man, I hate it when they put the fucking Babadook face up. Oh my god, that freaks me out. It's because it's these creepy eyes and this fucking scary fucking grin.
All right, let me see. Fuck you, dog. Get in here. Oh, that thing.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like somebody I know.
One of your in-laws?
Nah, somebody I used to stream with.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's too funny. Never heard of this thing before.
Watch the
Babadook. Huh? Yeah, I seen a movie came out like 5 years ago now. Was it?
Yeah.
I'm just curious. What the hell is this thing?
It's the boogeyman.
So it's a legit boogeyman. It's like I can see. Yeah, this chick looks terrified, and she's all covered with cuts and holding a son. So I'm guessing. Yeah. Let's see. Got a whole bunch of stars, so must be good.
Oh yeah, it's fucking creepy. I love it.
Is it on Netflix?
It was. I don't know if it's still on there.
Alright, because if it's on Netflix or Hulu, I'll check it out.
Yeah, give me a second. I'll check Netflix.
This fucking dog.
Yeah, they don't have Babadook on there right now.
Alright. Apparently there's a whole bunch of freaking horror movies that came out that I didn't even notice.
Oh yeah.
Like, what is some of this shit I'm looking at here? Jezebel, Annabelle. Huh.
Annabelle's creepy.
What's it? What is that? A doll?
Yes.
Looks like. What's this one about? Yeah.
Also, friend request. Oh my god, that was creepy.
What's it called?
Friend request?
Huh.
Ew.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Not much. Had a bunch of people over. They took off. Figured drop in since I told you I would. What you guys up to?
Apparently creepypasta was tonight's subject.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it myself.
I
I'm just
don't
learning.
find them interesting. I know what they are. It's fake cryptozoology shit. So it's like trying to make scary government documents for aliens or other things that will just obliterate you in a second. Be as scary as you can be. But
Yeah, one
yeah,
of
just
that I was listening to, it's a 5-part story, was the rake versus the dog man. That was actually interesting. I like that story.
yeah. I mean, if that's your thing, cool. It's just for me, not so much. So, what are you guys up to now? Are you still on air or what?
Yeah, we're still
Oh,
on.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, no, it's just I just don't particularly find that type of story to be all that engaging for me. I mean,
Well, I've been, listening to these things instead of watching TV because I find them a little more interesting. Yeah, throughout compilations and stuff like that, I'll hear the same story several times.
yeah.
But I've been listening, and you hear all these tales, and some of them you're like, oh my god, that couldn't really happen. But then they like show an actual news article or a photo and shit, and you're like, holy fuck.
I don't know. I kind of view that as seeing Bigfoot in a lot of ways. The world is interesting enough. I don't need extra weird shit. And it's horror based, and I'm just not particularly horror inclined. I mean, it's just not my preferred form of fiction. I'm much more the science fiction, fantasy type. Like, I don't mind the occasional sci-fi or historic plague as a device in a story, but it gets really, really tiresome when it's always the same, I don't know, emotional gesture of scaring the ever-living crap out of you. I don't find that particularly relaxing. I find it more engaging to just, go on a, I don't know, 30-minute ramp somewhere in TV episode or something like that. Mine's much more like, at this point, cartoon-based, because for fuck's sake, like, Canada makes most of television sci-fi at the moment. It's just awful. It is just god-awful. And Sci-Fi Channel has gone downhill tremendously. So, I don't know.
Well, I was saying before, like, I don't particularly like slasher horror or gore, but I can really appreciate a good ghost story.
Well, yeah, there's a difference between a traditional horror film and a blood fest. I see what you're saying there, Scooby. Yeah, but still, in general, I'd much rather experience as opposed to like a Pet Cemetery where you're talking about zombies at that point.
Yeah.
Undead, since that was what you brought up, was a ghost story kind of equivalent. I'd much rather go on a. Oh, those are both books, so that doesn't really count. Give me a second. Let me think of a movie. I'd rather go on like the Fellowship of the Ring than that.
Yeah.
I mean, it does have horror elements of like the Wraith Kings like the 7 undead kings that are chasing him around, or 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're both like 2-hour-ish, 2.5-hour-ish movies, and the Fellowship has a lot lighter touch to it. I mean, it's just life itself kind of sucks. I don't really want to engorge my fiction in more of that. Thank you very much. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I got you. I don't know. I just always, I guess, because I grew up, you know, on Ghostbusters and all
Well,
of
that's light comedy. That's not a serious ghost story. I thought you were talking like Poltergeist-y kind
Oh
of.
no, I'm talking about like the cartoon show. I grew up on the cartoon show. I grew up on a lot of the Hammer horror films and a lot. I was, you know, comic books at the time with the Midnight Suns with Marvel. So I basically, I guess it's just like my whole thing has always been like it was like the people chasing after these creatures, these things that go bump in the night were always scientists.
Well,
You
yeah,
know?
but that's an adventure story right there. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not a horror. That's quite literally the quintessential, you know, adventure, because they're going out and coming back. You know, they're discovering new things behind the corner, however terrifying they are, but they still get to come back to the safety of like the ghost shop den, and they're not, you know, when they're successfully storing them in their, you know, containers, so you don't have to worry about them coming out again, so they can safely have a cup of coffee and joke and, you know, etc. It's a horror film would be more like a horror genre would be much more, that's their base is also corrupted with undead and they can't get rid of these ghosts that are still within their base, and it's grim dark, and you know, instead of it being light and silly, they're fucking alcoholics or some shit. I mean, it gets dark, dude. That's the difference.
Oh yeah, no, I know. That's part of the thing. That was always what originally piqued my interest into the ghost stories, was watching the lighter things when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then when you get older and you start looking into it, you know, like as a serious, like, maybe I could do this as, you know, something as a pastime, or do it even as a career. And then you look into it and you're like, oh, okay. Some of these guys wind up drinking themselves to death and can't sleep because whenever they close their eyes, they see these fucking things. You know?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to sound very tired for a second, but this world is not that complex. So even if there are parallel universes, let's say, let's indulge our imagination for a second, and those things do exist, because ghosts exist on a realm within a realm or something, you know, fine. But on Prime Realm, which would be the one we exist in, you know, they're not here, so there is no like phaser beam to do that. You can't, at least not with scientific means yet, because we're stuck to the rules of physics in this universe.
Yeah.
And, you know, even with that, we cannot, you know, phase step or have cloaking devices yet. I mean, what's to say it'll happen in 200 years? But for now, anyway, the world's not that complicated. And I'm too much of a five senses person. If I can't feel it, see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, I don't believe it. You know, it's like I view that the same way I view God. They're the same to me. I do not think that if such a being existed, we could remotely understand its motives, because it would be such an evolutionary existence beyond ours. There's no way we could comprehend what its actual desires would be, or its actual intentions. Now, if it does exist, and I don't think praying gets you anything, because I don't think that this world, Earth, that we live on is more complicated than just us and the rest of the things we interact with, which is already sufficiently complicated enough. I mean, you get down into microorganisms and explaining how quarks work, for example. That took us a hot minute, and I still don't quite understand exactly the you know, quarks for dummies version of it. Even I got the general concept that under enough pressure, quarks form, you know, protons, electrons, and and neutrons, but how that process actually works, besides like quantum gravity, and then I get lost in that. Like, the world's already confusing enough. To think that like ghosts or other things are actually real. And that's one of the reasons why I found Starship Troopers and the whole controversy lying around the book and that to be so entertaining, is that it's quite literally a mutation at that juncture in time, and that's post-apocalyptic nuclear war. This is the rebirth of civilization post that, where everything got mutated and fucked up. So, what I mean, there's. Okay, I'm gonna go off on an even larger rant, so I'm done. But yeah, goodness gracious.
I hear you. Part of the reason that I guess for me it's more of like it's a guilty pleasure, because a lot of it can be either explained, or rather there is no explanation that supports such a thing. So it's one of those things when there is no scientific explanation for this thing that's just standing in front of you. You know, that's part of where the fear comes in, because like you, I'm also a very rational person. You know, I'm not one of those people, I mean, I hate saying this, you know, religious people get on me, but I personally don't believe that one day out of the week, if we all don't just go into the one house in town and all say our prayers together, the sun isn't going to come up the next day. It's a little bit asinine. So as somebody who thinks rational like that, you know, I agree with you. You know, the world is a mundane place, but that's part of the reason that, you know, like I enjoy things like a good ghost story, because it's not supposed to be real. It's not supposed to be there, but there's this fucking thing and it's staring at you.
No. I agree. I'm a fan of fiction as well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not knocking it. It's just, it's a different genre of it. I'd much rather indulge my imagination and, you know, the creative elements of my pastime with elves and orcs and dragons and, you know, that type of shit. It's just,
yeah,
you know, I mean, would it be cool if magic existed, you know, in Parallel Prime, which would be our universe? Yeah, I would. You know, if I lived in a magic realm, would I think that fucking the internet would be amazing? Probably. Would I be wishing for machines that could fucking make swords and cars and shit? Yeah, probably. I mean, would I wish for vaccinations and high-end antibiotics? Yeah, probably. You know, it's more that grass greener on the other side kind of attachment feeling. Like, if I could put myself in an alternate version of reality, I would rather be in this kind of storyline. So this is where I engage. I don't know.
Well, you made me think of I actually got a question for you. Okay. Now, let's say you're in, like, let's say you got the option of being here in the earth, on the earth that you're on now in this universe, or one of those high fantasy realms like what you're talking about. Now, here's my question. What are the things you wouldn't be able to live without? Like, that would make you stay here as opposed to going there? What?
Modern plumbing and water filtration.
You just picked the two exact same things as me, other than medicine.
Well, no, I mean, medicine comes from both of those, and I brought that up earlier for vaccinations. Yeah. But you said two things, which would be the two primary would be water filtrations for clean water, and fucking plumbing. That includes bathing, shitting, you know, shaving, you know, grooming yourself. All the things that come in modern civilization, that's stepping back into a medieval realm, you would go without. The most advanced form of bathing is, here's a hot spring and we put some marble tile around it to make it look better. I mean, that's what you're looking at there.
Yeah.
You know, maybe sewers that run downslope if it's a fucking city on a hill. I mean, come on. That's nothing amazing. Just the level of hygiene that comes from clean water itself is something that modern civilization tends to forget about. Like, you know, people don't think about the things that you pay no attention to because you use them all the time and have since birth. Like, most people that grew up in suburbs, you know, lower middle class or above, have had running water their entire lives. I know. Even most of the rural communities out here still have running well water. So Jesus.
See, that makes sense though. Like that was one of the things because I'm designing a game in my server, and I was talking to Burnside about it, and like I was explaining to him because one of the things I was designing was an aspect that was based on like the Age of Empires and like the Bronze Age, and I had been telling him part of the reason I was like looking at things back then is because like the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages were actually like technologically inferior. So it was one of those things like, why would I want to actually design something based on the Middle Ages when people were shitting in a bucket and throwing it out the window?
Yeah, but Bronze Age used lead for their plumbing. That plumage.
Right.
Right. So do you want cancerous forms of brain melanoma from consuming lead your entire life while having that running water?
No, I don't. Part of the reason I was telling him is
that's the main reason why I picked modern sanitation as opposed to ancient sanitation.
Right.
Rome had a very nice sanitation section, but
right. Well, that's part of what the game that I've been designing was. It's like it was from watching Cody's Alternate History Hub. A lot of what I was thinking of was, well, if you put in all of these different things so that Rome didn't fall and this empire didn't fall and this didn't happen and that didn't happen, and they, it was things like that. Okay, what if you had these places and they still existed, but now they're using modern plumbing, like no lead. They're using, as opposed to lead, whatever the hell they use to seal pipes nowadays. Things of that nature. Like with the modern advancements, like certain things come into play. Like would they actually, because they have this advanced sanitation, this advanced irrigation, and this advanced sewage removal, of like things like the Black Plague, when it wouldn't hit as severe.
Well, no. It would have, because the major problem with the Black Plague was it was a continental exposure. So no one had the antibodies in their immune systems to resist an far East Asian disease.
Right. It would have not been as exacerbated the problem though, because
yeah, sure. I mean, you wouldn't have nearly as much fetid disease infested crap that pretty much
not only that, but
of Europe.
Witch hunts, and they were killing off cats left and right, which were carrying the fleas that were biting people, causing them to get sick.
Well, if we're going with the assumption that the empire didn't fall, I don't think that witch hunts would have occurred.
Right.
And a big part of witch hunts were social control within because the Catholic Church at the time had just done the Cathar extinction, where they wiped out most of the Christians in north to northwestern France. And because it was a preemptive Protestant Reformation without the printing press, basically, and the church wiped it out, and that left a huge vacuum. And then when the plague came in, they made it so if you died of the plague, you were naturally infected with some type of cursed disease, demonic shit, so you weren't given a sanctified burial. And that led into the witch trials, because somebody had to be cursing people because there were too many. I mean, it's a little bit more complicated than, but yeah, no, if you didn't have the empire fall, you wouldn't have had that power structure be there, so that way a religious purge, especially under the Roman pantheon, wouldn't have occurred. The only times that Rome religiously purged its citizens was specifically the Jews, because the 12 Judaic tribes would not accept their pantheon being integrated into the Roman pantheon. They insisted on having their religion separate and were rebellious. I mean, around the time of Christ, there was like 17 or 25 different messiahs that we know about from just Roman records. There was a lot of various Judaic uprisings that were put down by Roman legion. They eventually scattered them out of their homeland and said, fuck off. We have a massive territory. You go to each fucking corner and quit rebelling. So I don't think that the witch trials would have even occurred.
Yeah.
It would have been similar to what happened when Rome and Persia met, and they had an empire-wide disease that affected and wiped out about 17% of the Roman Empire's population because of a trade route established through Persia. They still lasted about as long as the Black Death. The difference was that it didn't bring civilization to a fucking halt. I don't know if the same would have occurred if half of the Roman Empire died from that disease, though. I mean, it's more akin to what happened to the natives in North and South America when they were introduced to the rest of the world's disease structures. Because, I mean, Spanish flu was terrible. That came out of Central America, of a disease mix there. So, I mean, I don't think that, because a lot of the invading conquistadors got sick too. It's just the difference was that the immune systems of those that had survived these repeated plagues and deaths could survive the new crap they were introduced to as well. It was it's the native population that has the weaker immune system from a genetic overhaul that gets wiped out. So in China, when the Romans first advanced and the diseases were swapped there, 15% of the Roman civilization died, but in China they were looking at close to 35%. And then in the Middle Ages, when the Black Death started, that was a different strain of disease that came over that was bacterial, as it was in a flu. And I mean, that wiped out, between bubonic and pneumonic plague, it wiped out 65% of the entire continent.
Yeah.
I don't think modern sanitation would have dealt with it, but honestly, killing the cats, which was the primary thing that was killing the rats, made it stay around forever. Tara's right about that, but just having the empire in effect would have made it so that way the likelihood of having the religious cleansing of the cats and the burning of everything kind of not happen. I mean, the Romans were very, very accepting of knowledge and information, so they never had a dark age within their own society and culture until it was gone.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking that, like, the way that I was looking at it was, I'm just thinking, not just the Romans either. If you look at, like, the Babylonians, if you look at the Akkadians,
Babylonians weren't very accepting of new information. That's part of what led to their destruction.
No, I meant I'm talking about, like, how they had sanitation in their cities. Like, a lot of them did actually have very, very clean cities, and they had very good urban planning. Obviously, nowhere near as advanced as the Romans, but my point being is, what I'm getting at is, I'm thinking that if it was still, and again, this is a thought experiment, that these empires never collapsed and they endured. I think when it got to the point when the Black Plague hit, it would be nowhere near as severe as it was in our timeline. And the point I was getting at is, because the Black Plague wouldn't be as severe, the aftermath of the Black Plague is what was the catalyst for the Industrial Revolution, because there wasn't enough serfs left to work the land, so the people had to figure out what the fuck they were going to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, Archimedes invented the steam engine and presented it to the king of Sparta, and his response to that is, what am I going to do with 65,000 slaves then?
Yeah.
I mean, the steam engine wasn't new when it got applied into locomotives. It was my point bringing that up. So, I mean, yeah, if the population hadn't have gotten eviscerated, then you wouldn't have had a need to industrialize.
Yeah.
That is the crux of the issue with industrialization, period. And we're at a point in industrialization where stopping it is not necessarily a good idea. So as more and more people will get phased out of work as we industrialize more and more and more, I mean, this is started from that event, and it hasn't stopped. So it's one of the reasons why I find the Go Code argument annoying, because it's not accurate. I mean, realistically, to be successful as a human, you need to not have a niche. You need to be, as humans are, which is just a jack of all trades. You can kind of sort of do almost anything. but not really do anything amazingly. Because those niches won't survive. I mean, are there any telecom operators anymore?
Not to my knowledge.
Well, that's one of the oldest, longest tech traditions. That goes back to, the original Morse code across, across the telegram lines.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where that job was created. And now, who uses a phone that's actually through a landline anymore?
I just have one for the bill collectors to call. That's it.
Yeah, well, but still, that's rare. I don't know very many people who have an actual home phone line that runs through the telephone lines. Like, my fiber modem came with a phone adapter for setting up a phone off of it, but it's not using the phone lines, it's using the fiber lines. There's a difference.
Yeah.
And because the fiber lines go through an automatic switch block no matter what, there is no human interaction there because it's already deeply, pathed. Whereas the old phone lines do still route through some of the old systems. I mean, there's a lot of phone freaking. It was a really interesting little subsect when I learned about that. I didn't realize that there was as many things that you can do because there's still a dead line that's still powered and still running. I know that was kind of an interesting little subsect of fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. If we were talking about, fantasy and fiction, like The Matrix to me is much more believable of a grim, dark future than really anything. It's just a ramped up version of our technology across the entire line. Especially when you're talking about grim, dark stories, like what you would see in an actual ghost story, that's pretty brutal. I mean, humans are batteries instead of batteries are what run my remote. Fuck you. That's kind of motherfucker. What the hell?
If you like The Matrix, I wanted to ask you. I bet you're a bit of a Monty Cook fan, aren't you?
Who's that?
Monty Cook. He's a big game designer. He designed Planescape for Dungeons and Dragons. A whole bunch of different shit that he designed. Bless you. He was involved with World of Darkness. Yeah.
Yeah. No. The World of Darkness was relatively interesting. 5th edition. I had to completely walk away from it though.
Oh no, Monty Cook was involved in 2nd edition.
Ah, yeah, second edition World of Darkness was pretty good actually. I did like that.
No, I'm talking 2nd edition D&D. He was involved in 1st edition World of Darkness.
Oh, okay. I haven't played that.
Yeah, back when they had Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Apocalypse in the 90s.
Yeah, that's 2nd edition. First edition. Yeah, that is 2nd. Because 1st edition was pre-apocalypse and pre-technocracy. Because I played a great deal of the Mage the Ascension, because the Ascension set was after it was the same as the Masquerade and Apocalypse, because there was a fully integrated world, which is what I liked about it. But the Ascension was really fun because the basic storyline there. Did you ever play it?
Oh yeah, I'm actually holding a copy of the Book of Nod in my hand as we speak.
Yeah. That was a pretty good storyline. It's just, unfortunately, they really, really went, social crusade-y. It was obnoxious that they did so. The 5th edition Vampire the Masquerade just made me giggle. It was that silly. Things about trigger warnings and the preamble to it was amazing. It was a full page on how vampires are horrible, horrible undead monsters. And no shit. Involves themes that don't require consent. No shit. Involves themes of forced addiction. Yeah, you get addicted to the vampire blood or else you don't have a ghoul. What the fuck are you talking about? Ugh. It was obnoxious. Very much so.
Wasn't that the edition that took out the Malkavian?
What now?
Wasn't that the edition that like obliterated the Malkavian?
I didn't get that far into it, actually. I got far enough into the story to have, far enough into the book at the bookstore when I was looking at it to read the full preamble. And when they started having a stoplight system for the emotional comfort of the players, I put the book back on the shelf.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, you have a green circle, a yellow, and a red, and you can move your token onto that, but depending on how you're feeling personally about where the storyteller's going. And I'm like, fuck this, no.
Wow.
Well, how are you going to feel with your blood bag beating? I mean, come on.
I hate to say it, but it sounds to me like these kids need a collective fucking nut check.
Well, see, like I was talking about this earlier because there was a good chance that the Marvel comic book line would go away, and it looks like instead of that they're gonna like be shaking things up, whatever that means. But Disney's still going to keep it going to put rumors away. But I mean, a good number of my hobbies have been invaded by these social types. And their general standpoint is well, if you don't like it, go make your own hobby. Well, how many points do my hobbies have to be destroyed before, I've made my own hobby? Is the general question. Like, and the new hobbies that I've picked up because of the ones that have been taken, like American comics going downhill. So I've been going to Japanese because they're better quality and they're better stories overall. I mean, at what point will that end? Because it's not a nut check, really. I mean, it's really not. When you're looking at the social litigation you could be facing for crossing an HR department, a PR department, I think they have too much actual social control. This is one of the, like Tim Pool did a video about the fact that Google is trying to bring in a social credit system here, and this is commenting off of the Chase Bank decision to stop, giving people bank accounts if they disagree with their public personas. This is also backed up by Twitter and Facebook signing an open letter saying that if you have a public social media account, you're a public person. So therefore, private citizens are the only ones that don't engage in social media, which is rather amusing because both of those companies build shadow profile algorithms. So it's kind of bullshit. If you're not familiar with that, but
no, I'm familiar with a lot of it actually. That's part of the reason I'm gonna actually, if I don't do it tonight, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I'm gonna add you into that channel I got in my server with the game I'm working on. Because, well, bro, I definitely appreciate your input, and I know that you'll read through what I've put in there so far, and anything that's bad, you will mercilessly take an axe to it. And I really appreciate criticism.
Okay.
Like, yeah, well, one of the things I always say is I would write something when I was younger, and my friends would be like, yo, don't let Frank read that, man. Frank's going to rip it apart and shit all over it. And I'd be like, that's why I'm letting Frank read it, because I want to see where I fucked up. Like, if you can't take the heat, you get out the kitchen, and I want to be the cook. That's the way I look at it.
Sure. All right.
No, because I didn't know that you were to, like, bro, I'm the same way. I'm definitely, like, I prefer high fantasy. It's from living here. You know what I'm saying? I go outside. There's buildings all over the place. There's fucking homeless people. It smells. There's not too much trees. So high fantasy was more my thing,
Yeah.
In Mordor.
Basically.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the desire for fantasy, there aren't very many, especially like playing RPGs, tabletops. There aren't very many horror-based. Like Ravenloft is all right. Ravenloft, actually, sorry, is all right in D&D, but doing actual horror in an RPG is rather difficult.
Oh no, it's not a horror RPG. It's a high fantasy RPG.
No, it's not. No, not Ravenloft. No.
No, I mean the one I'm working on.
Yeah. I'm talking genres in general, man.
Oh, my bad. I thought you
No,
were.
no. It's just like I would say the closest thing that you get to an RPG horror would be like Resident Evil, and that's kind of. It's more action than anything else, but it's very story driven. You don't get any decisions that you can make that actually impact the story at all. But most of my experience is either tabletop or war games. So like Warhammer, for example, Warhammer 40K. Like those were incredibly amusing because you can spend 8 to 10 hours just on a 1,200 point match. It does not take that long when you're actually measuring and rolling and shit. Like, it does not take that long to get lost in it. Rather, it's fun times when it was that or playing fucking sports, so it gives something else to do.
I hated sports when I was a kid.
I
lifted
football.
weights. I lifted weights and hit a heavy bag. That was it.
I lifted weights in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Well, I did the tri-sport thing where I played football. The winter I did weightlifting. The summer I did track.
Yeah.
Specifically, I did the field part of track.
I got down with my roots when I was a kid. I played soccer. Went out and did that shit. Played street hockey when I was a teenager. On the street league.
The world claims that that's a sport, and I refuse to.
It was what, soccer?
Yeah. I don't care if the whole world says that's a sport. I don't care. It's not.
Honestly, I only played it because Dago family, that's the first thing they do when they come to this country is they enroll their kids in fucking soccer. So I was just going through the motions.
Yeah. I know. The activities I did weren't like, I never viewed like swimming as an actual sport. I know that a lot of the swimmers, that was a different line of athlete. Like the running backs, for example, would do swimming in the winter and then the track and field in the spring.
Yeah.
And I do understand that it is a legitimate sport. It is just not one that I can do. So I never really took it as they do soccer in the summer too, and I'm like, what are you doing? Why? Yeah.
Like a buddy of mine around the corner was on the track team, track and field, and all he was ever doing was, we used to joke because, we'd say, this fucking guy says he's going to run to the store really quick for a loaf of bread. He actually would go outside and run to the fucking store.
Yep. Different body size gives different, athletic works. And it really does. And I am not one to run 3 miles to the store and back for a loaf of bread because it also keeps me fit. I'd rather just, drive to the store and come back and pump some more iron or whatever as I'm watching TV. Or playing around between rolling dice or whatever. I'm, crunching a clamp.
Yeah.
And,
when I used to weightlift, I don't know if you ever did it. You ever screw around with the Olympic rings?
No.
Oh, bro, what a fucking workout those things are.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if you like to like, I actually enjoyed weightlifting. Like, I look forward to going and throwing around some weight. And then one of the guys in the gym, he's like, "Yo, Scoop, why don't you try the fucking rings?" And I look at him, I'm like, "Do I look like somebody who has a leotard in my bag?" He's like, "No, seriously, man, just give this shit a whirl." Holy shit, what a workout!
Yeah.
Seriously, if you ever get the chance, give the rings a shot.
I know at this point I'm done with that. Like, I keep myself fit enough, but my knees are gone, man. I can't actually go and do a full workout in a gym.
Yeah, sucks getting older, don't it?
Yeah, it does. No, it does.
Well, I personally, I look at it this way. I'm going to be 40 soon. I don't look it. I don't feel it. I'm not going to let it own me.
Understood.
No, seriously, I mean,
No, I'm taking you seriously.
Ugh.
But
So let me ask you, how's things going over in your neck of the woods? Is it warm yet, or?
no, what are you talking about? It's freezing temperatures. Like we've been having frozen rain and ice for 3 months. It's fantastic because we were having a drought for a while, and at this point we're having record rain, which is great. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's just it's all frozen and icy, and then it melts, and then it's been exciting. Spring's probably not going to hit until about April. So
Shit.
nah, I mean the last couple of years were really light, so I mean it's not bad. You know, we could use as much water as possible, so that's fine.
All right, that's good at least. We've actually had a really mild winter. I was amazed. We didn't even get any snow until March. Like usually, like the past couple of winters have been brutal. You know, fucking old man winter really, pulled our pants down and gave us a good rogering. But yeah, this winter was really mild. I was impressed. Thank God. Ugh. Hey guys, give me 1 second. The fucking dog is being annoying again. I'll be right back.
All right.
I gotta get on to making dinner at some point soon.
Well, if you need to go ahead, I'm probably going to end the show at midnight. I'm tired.
Yeah, that's fine. Just I wasn't planning on being online tonight, so. What? What was that?
I said thank you for hopping on.
Yeah, no, not a problem. That's just, all Scoop just shows up with a link, and I'm like, what's this? I'm like, I don't know what this is. Like, well, we're online. I'm like, yeah, I got people over. What's up?
Lovely.
Yeah, fine. All right. If you guys are gonna take off, if you guys are gonna go up there, I'm probably just gonna jet then because I gotta get moving on to dinner.
Do you have anything you want to show?
I don't know at the moment with Stream.me down, like that.
Got taken down.
A lot of shit because that was where I was primarily focusing my efforts, and I have yet to figure out what I want to do because of that. So I'm not really shilling anything right now. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing with myself.
Wow, I didn't know it got taken down. I was when you got
it outright disappeared, and then it was confirmed that people were doxing the owner's children and doing Tucker Carlson shit to the owner of Stream.me's children because as a free speech platform, naturally it's full of Nazis. And they didn't need that bullshit since they were running the site at a loss, supposedly. I mean, that's the official statement, and people did actually go after the dude's kids. I don't know if that's actually what happened, but either way, it does appear that there was some form of social pressure that ended the site. So,
I hate saying this. I think we're on the road towards a civil war with the way these fucking leftists keep doing this crazy shit.
I've been saying that for years.
Yeah.
They need to let up, or
we're pretty much already in the middle of a Cold War.
Well, it's Civil War, yeah, that's been going on for about 8 years. But I mean, you guys have seen Office Space, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the primary decision made by all those office workers in the 90s when they were first, coming up with their ideas to resolve their frustrations at work? Do you guys remember?
Fuck. The only thing I remember about that movie is the red stapler.
All right. Well, in that movie, in the very first 10 minutes, everyone announces everything that they're going to do. Right then and there, and decide not to do it because of that. It's one of the culturally unique and different things about the men presented there of the white class, white male. And all of them are stupidly extreme. So the guy who tries to kill himself, he announces in the first 10 minutes that if things get worse, he's just might as well just eat a bullet or some shit. The guy who steals shit says he's going to do that if they fucking give him another TPS report, but that's not enough. He does it when he gets fired. That's one of the things that's interesting about like the Samir character, because he's a lot more rounded. You know, he yells and screams at the fucking printer when it happens, whereas like the other guy is just talking about quitting his job. And all the things that occur in the movie are announced in the first 10 minutes. I mean, if the general response is if things get worse, if things get worse, I might as well go through my plan of flying a plane through a building. They probably will, since that's the first decision they've made, as opposed to the last one that they come to when they finally snap their tether. It's that idea's been bouncing around in their head forever. It's part of why they resound to it. Fine to it. Sorry. Anyway, I need to get cooking. I'm fucking starving. So, thanks for having me on, guys. Talk to y'all later.
You got it. Thanks for coming on, bro, and thanks for leaving us with those words of wisdom. That was actually really cool.
Six says in the chat, Buenos tardes, everyone.
Hello to you too, sir. Ugh. He could have dragged his ass in here. Well, more likely than not, he's probably balls deep in chicken right now.
He's always balls deep in chicken, except for the other night it was pizza.
I know, I was shocked. Fucking Purdue must have went down a half a point when they heard that.
No, it's Tyson.
Tyson, huh?
Yeah.
I guess that must be down south with the... We got Tyson up here, but it's mostly the frozen shit.
Yeah.
Like, the fresh chickens are all Purdue.
We still get raw Tyson chicken.
Yeah, we don't get those as much up here. Most of our chickens are Purdue. Yeah, he's got, like, I guess he's got the market cornered on the northeast or some shit.
Alright, so anyone got anything to show?
Nope.
I actually do, yes. Well, you guys know the deal. I'm Scooby331. You can follow me here on YouTube. I am on Minds.com, GabAI, Instagram, which has nothing on there yet. I will get around to posting stuff once I have more content generated. I am on Patreon, and I am on PayPal. And I am definitely trying to thump for a little bit of crowdfunding tonight, folks. On the 17th, which is going to be in 5 days, is going to be St. Patty's Day. And as I do every year, I go up into Manhattan to go up and hit up the cathedral and get a couple of things blessed, say a few novenas. You know, I'm not really a practicing Catholic, but on the one day of the year, I'm an Irish Catholic. So this year, I'm actually going to document it for those of you folks who are not from here and have never gotten a chance to experience it. Trying to see if I can talk Burnside into going and documenting Chicago's and trying to do a simulcast, but I'm not going to hold my breath. So I'm looking for fundage for that because it's $40 to go both ways. You know, it's 20 in, 20 out. It's 18 and change, but you know what I'm saying. And that's pretty much it. I got that cooking. And hopefully in the coming months, I'm going to try to see if I can get some form of transportation so I can start generating daily content again by just whipping around the neighborhood and filming all the insanity for you folks. So that's what I got right now.
All right. And I'm Tara Sin, your favorite cyber bitch. You can find me on pretty much any social media except for Facebook. It is under the name of Ambrosia Locke, Locke spelled with an E at the end. I'm trying to get up to Chicago. The flight that I've looked at is $268. So please, if you can find it in your heart to send, a donation through my PayPal, that would be amazing. Or, go through my Streamlabs. I don't care. I want to get up there and I want to see my pudding. I haven't seen him in almost a year. And I'm going to have to end up saving up the same amount to go to DC. So if I can't make it this time, I have to save for DC. Because, we're wanting hotel rooms only. I think we're only going to get one room, Scoop. If it's just the three of us, we might as well just get one room.
Get the same rooms as last year. I'll pay for my own this year. I'm trying to get money.
Oh, if by that time we can get the money, yeah.
Yeah, look, you gotta understand. I'm insane. I need my own room. I do all sorts of crazy shit when I'm by myself. So seriously, you don't want to be in the same room with me.
You'd just be in the room while him and I fuck.
Also, why I want my own room.
Alright, so, donate to us, please, if you have a heart. If not, fuck you. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, all.
Bye.